Morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Last drum stream for 2 days. Well, we should be back on the weekend. We got some family coming over, so we're gonna take a little break. I don't want to wake them up with the drumming. Let's get motivated with Shia LaBeouf. Help me out. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Thank you for the like. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Shia LaBeouf. I'm super motivated now. Look at that flex. All right. Good morning, everybody. We're going to be using all of the free resources. There's over 1,000 of them for free on my YouTube channel. Just go to the home tab. Or if you go to the link at the top of the screen, jaredoleary.com/drum. We got 53 chop exercises, 372 triplet grid variations, 514 16-note grid variations, 36 timing exercises, 55 drum charts, 166 marching bass exercises, 128 technique exercises, and literally several hours of tips. When people come into these streams and they ask some questions, I put them into these little highlight reels that answer different questions. And there's 59 videos. All the ones that say members first are scheduled to release publicly for free, so you don't ever have to pay for anything. Good morning, Nima. How you doing? Go back. Okay, we're going to warm up, and then after we warm up, we're going to stretch and massage. After we stretch and massage, we're then going to play 5 reps of Blue Devil's, 2000 spree, and 5 reps of RCC's MORRISpree, and then we're just going to keep bouncing back and forth between those 2 shopping sprees. But before we do that, let's warm up with another shopping spree. We'll just make the whole day shopping sprees. We'll warm up with Blue Devils 99, and then we'll close out the stream with Velvet Knight's 5-4 shopping spree. So we click, and then we turn up the volume, jam, pump it up. And with all these play-alongs, this goes from 40 all the way to 200 beats a minute. Just go into the timestamps, and you can jump to a specific BPM. Like, let's start off at a nice, comfortable 120. And then it gives you a little bit of a rest if you are doing any one of them that ends with a 0 or a 5, and then it counts you off. I have to sneeze so bad right now. Whee! Let's go faster. So you just click again, and then it jumps to that BPM. Again, if it ends with a 0 or a 5, it allows you to get yourself set up, and then taps off. Let's go faster. Thank you for the like. Let's just keep going by 5s. We're warming up, so we're getting the hands going. Slowly, but surely. Ugh, wrist is still tight. No, we're going faster. 135. Flow fives. Ew. It was late. Okay. 140. Go. Yes, I do. I got an exercise that's releasing in 2 days. Wow. Already 700 likes. Thank you for all the likes on TikTok. Gonna get a new high score. Yeah, so there's a exercise that released this morning on the channel. Let's go back under the videos. So this one, Flam Tap Builder, is specifically designed for flam taps. However, under technique, so if we go to technique exercises, there are 2 exercises specifically for what you're talking about. And the inverted one, I believe, releases, today's Wednesday, so it releases on Friday. And then the cheese invert one, I believe, releases on Sunday. There's like a grid variation in between each of these like technique exercises. But where is it at? It's towards the bottom here. So we've got all these builder exercises. The Flam Tap Builder we just released. The inverts builder and the cheese inverts builder. So the way that it works on it is it adds in 1 note at a time. So you start off with just accent taps. And then you add in a grace note. And then you're playing straight inverts. And then it removes 1 note at a time. So that is an excellent exercise to work on your inverts. And then the cheese version just adds in a diddle, etc. like that. So that's what I recommend. Good question. Let's go back. 145, I believe, is where we left off. Yeah, I agree. Cheese inverts are sweet. The Goat Simulator video. That's scheduled to release, I think, next Wednesday, a week from today. So currently members first. Some goofy moments in there. But anyways, no, not 170. We go into the timestamps. We're doing 145. We're warming up. We can do 170 maybe after we stretch and massage, but not right now. Not right now. Not happening. Practicing 5 hours a day unhealthy or can it have bad side effects? There's a lot I could talk about with that. Give me a moment to process it, to think. Good question. Thanks, Robert. We'll play it one more time, then we'll stretch and massage. And then I'll give you some thoughts on that question. It's a great question. Robert, it's never too late to start. see. I've been practicing 7 hours a day for about a month, and the improvement I've seen is immense, but I've also seen my social battery relationship is falling apart due to the dedication put in drumming. Yeah, that's a really good point. I actually wasn't even thinking about that. Because, I got that brand of autism where I don't really focus on that much. And since I'm in a marriage, that's the number one relationship that I care about. Yeah, so I used to practice several hours a day, sometimes dozens of hours a day. Especially when you get into all days with drum corps, you're literally just going to be drumming all day long. And, even on breaks, riding the bus or just lunch breaks and whatnot, just pull out the pad and sticks and just practicing. So you can practice all day. There's just a point of diminishing returns. So there is scholarship on, how, elite level athletes practice, Olympians or train, if you want to think of it that way. And what they'll often do is they'll have, a set period of intense practice, and then they'll have a break, and then they'll come back to practicing again. And during that break time, they will often take a nap. So Olympians get 9.5 hours of sleep compared to most normal people who get 6 to 8 if you're lucky. So that gives the brain more time to process the things that you learn. The problem with the diminishing returns, you'll reach this plateau where you're just not getting any gains in terms of improvement. You can work on your endurance on that, but what I recommend doing if you want to practice for an extended period of time is front load the most important thing that you're going to focus on at the beginning, and over time, during your several hours of practicing, if that's what you're going to do, end with the stuff that is more fluff that you don't have to think about as much. So if you're going to refine your technique, do that at the beginning. Don't save that for the end. Save the chop stuff and the endurance stuff for the end when you're just going to have fun with it. You can get some repetitive stress injuries and strain and whatnot if you are practicing for many hours a day, which is why, in a moment, I will be doing, stretch exercises and whatnot. And that came out of the bad stuff that happened when I was practicing and I wasn't stretching, and so I got all sorts of hand issues. So I highly recommend that you do the stretch routine that I'm about to do. Yeah, what you were saying with the social stuff, it definitely takes a drain on it. I would practice in high school. I'd come home and I'd practice until basically I fell asleep. So I'd finish my homework as quickly as possible and then just drum for several hours. And that does impact social life. Man, I have to sneeze. Sorry about that display of violence. The thing that you could try and do is find some people to practice with, and then it becomes a little bit more social. But honestly, most of what you do in a several-hour practice session, you could potentially do in half that amount of time if you're more focused. So if you are more intentional with the time you're spending, you can make more gains than if you're just kind of I played the roll exercise for 8 hours straight. But if you just sit there and play it for 1 hour straight at 40, if I were to slow this exercise down to 40 and just play through it there, that, if I spent, I don't know, an hour on it, how long is an hour? That'll get me to about 103 beats a minute. If you did that, as opposed to playing through this for 3 hours straight from 100 to 160, something like that, just keep looping that over and over, you'd get way more gains from it. So it's not necessarily about the duration of practice that is important, unless you're in some kind of an endurance related activity, long distance, marathon running or something like that. It's about the intensity and the focus of the practice that matters more. So try and focus on how to refine the time you have rather than extend the amount of time that you have, if that makes sense. That can still give you some room for life outside of practicing, if that is something that you desire. But yeah, that's what I'd recommend for that. Personally, don't care about social relationships that value drumming more. Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm in the same boat. I walked around with a doorknob in high school and rotated it so I could work on my endurance and speed. Like, that certainly didn't build relationships. But, like, I didn't care. I became the center snare of every single drumline that I marched on, got full ride scholarship, and it was because, like, I was willing to do the things that would push me forward, even if it meant that, like, it isolated me socially. And for me, if you look at the trade-offs with that, I was fine with that. But most people were like, I want to be good, but, like, not that good. I don't want to give up all this other stuff. And that's totally cool. Like, everybody's different. Past few days seem to be glued to your pad. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, for me, practicing was a mental escape. Like, quite literally helped me get rid of the suicidal thoughts that I was having. Like, during my high school and undergrad tenure, like, that was a rough time for me. And practicing was, like, the one thing that kept my mind off of, like, the depression and just suicidal ideation. And so, yeah, it's a healthy escape. At least it can be for some people. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with practicing. Just know that, like, it's going to create some strain on your hands. So, like, make sure you stretch or massage. Make sure you, like, elevate. Like, put your arms up in the air, like, for 10 minutes just so that the blood drains, so it gets rid of some of the inflammation. You can also put, like, ice on your forearms to get rid of some of the inflammation as well. Like, take care of your hands. And if you feel sharp pain, stop. Like, back up. Like, okay, go slow. Don't worry about just playing fast. Like, just focus on refining the technique rather than just playing things fast for several hours. And you'll see more gains if you are able to just focus on that. That makes sense. But let's stretch and massage now. That's the realest thing someone has ever said. Yeah, I mean, I try and be very just candid. Like, so I'm 39, and I know I've had, like, friends die, like, for a variety of reasons. Like, I had a friend and former student die in May. I was his supervisor for his doctorate, for his dissertation, and in May, I was going to, like, do the hooding ceremony, which is where, like, he's finished his dissertation, defended, and so, like, there's, like, a big old ceremony for people who get their doctorates, and, like, the supervisor will usually, like, hood them, and that's, like, this big moment. But, like, he died a week before that from cancer. So, like, I'm very aware that life is short and precious. I'm grateful to have had the, like, 39 years that I've had on this world, but, like, I don't want to waste it. So what I mean by that is, like, I don't want to waste being fake with, like, just the breadth and depth of emotions that you can experience in life, and just to be real with, like, hey, some people have depression, and I'm one of those people. I have chronic depression, but I'm not depressed, if that makes sense. We just stretch the underside. Now I'll stretch the top side. So, like, I have a podcast for the computer science podcast that I do that talks about some of the stats with depression. Every single teacher will at some point deal with or work with a student, rather, who has chronic depression and suicidal ideation. And if you can identify that, you can literally save lives. Like, there's a dozen people that I can name, but I'm not, who, like, I've personally identified and, like, walked them down to the counselor and been like, hey, guidance counselor or whatever it was at the school that I was working at, like, this person is having a difficult time right now. Like, they could use somebody who could, like, just lend an ear, etc. So get some professional help and whatnot. So yeah, all that to say that it's common. The stats are very profound, actually, very common. Like, if you go to back here, we'll come back to Blue Devils in a minute. But, like, under the Computer Science Education podcast, like, I stopped doing this podcast a while ago, but let's see. Yeah, this one. So the Depression, Suicide, and Computer Science Education. So it takes a presentation that I did for music educators, and I kind of repurpose it and talk about it in relation to computer science education. And, like, the stats are very alarming. So yeah, just try and be real with it. Like, this is a thing. It happens, unfortunately, at an alarming rate. So I try and just be candid with that, very open with it. But anyways. If it wasn't for the escape of drumming, I'd be in a lot worse place right now. I hear you. I was the exact same way, like literally. I would not be here today if I did not have drumming in my life. And I know that sounds like a lot, but like it's the truth. Like literally, it is the one thing that kept my mind off of the depression. And going and seeing a counselor, and then changing my lifestyle, like focusing on better sleep, better food, like working out daily, etc. All that helped, but just being able to process like the thoughts that I was having with a therapist is helpful. I still see a therapist like infrequently now, but if I feel like I need like a third party person to speak with, then I'll talk to them. And my wife's a therapist. I try and not have her like therapize me because it's not her job, but therapy is like a super important part of my recovery process and why I don't have those thoughts anymore. Yeah, well, I'm really happy to hear that. It's been helpful in some way. Like, yeah, I'm just trying to show like one, the raw, like here's how you actually practice, and that's not always exciting or entertaining. It can be very boring, in fact. Just refining something at like 40 beats a minute, going up one click at a time. But yeah, I'm just trying to show that like, hey, you can have fun, whether it's gaming or drumming or just be yourself and enjoy it. Can I play rep of queso after stretching? You're trying to learn it? So, queso is Susie combined with the first half of Chicago Book Report. So if you just learn those two things, then you can play queso. Roger Carter just basically combined those two. So like the tenors would play like the Chicago part, the very first half, the first two lines, while the snares would play Susie, and then it would flip. So you do them at the same time, if I remember correctly, but it's basically the same thing. Oh, I'm stretching out of order. I forgot the palm. Too busy talking. I'm up here yapping. Yeah, I know a lot of content creators will tend to stay away from those topics, but because I've like actually done research on it and like helped students and friends and whatnot and myself through depression, it's like one of those things where it's just like, no, I'm going to be vocal about it. Like, I'm going to be very real about it. I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm happy every day and I have been my whole life. I've never had a sad or negative thought or anxiety. I wish more content creators were just realistic about like, here are the emotions I experience, especially when it comes to like what people share on like Instagram and whatnot. It's like all the great moments. Like, yeah, I mean, those are important to have. That's fun, but you know, life's not all Instagram moments. And I'm okay talking about that. Let's chop out with this one. 160. We're going to attempt to get to 170. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, that was... We're not going to talk about that. Ignore that. My hands are too tight. All right, so we're going to do 5 reps of Blue Devils, 2,000 spree, not 99, and then 5 reps of MORRISpree, and we're just going to keep going back and forth. And we left off at 100, so let's do that again. And again, these are scheduled to release, I think, in November. So if you go back like a couple weeks, I play through them starting at 40 beats a minute and going up one click at a time, so you can like get access to the music and play through it slow if you'd like to, or just wait. New one daily. All right, 5 reps. Go. slower than I thought. Okay, now we do it again. I don't even know what happened there, but it just like totally messed with my playing. I like changed the angle of my hand. Good morning. Whoops. I ended a little early there. It was Friday. Decided to go home early for the weekend on those singles. Ugh, my hands feel off. All right, last rep, and then we'll switch over to the other spree. Sweet. Okay. Now we're over here. Let's get water first. I feel super dehydrated today. Don't know why. Maybe because I live in a desert. I've already drank a whole one of these. Round two. Videos help me so much. You're struggling with an imbalance of coordination with your hands. Could you elaborate on that? I'd be happy to help you with that. Do I work on rudiments? Yeah, I usually do them with grid variations, though. So, like, if I want to work on flam drags or something, then I'll work on them in context. So it's like... Or backwards. So you do the 1, 2, 4 variations of grid, but that's a great way to practice it. Is doing that. Is that half a gallon? It's like 1.9 liters, which is like 70 gallons. Just kidding. I don't think it actually says the gallon on it. Let's see. Somebody asked me how many liters it was specifically. It's 64 ounces, 1.9 liters. And I already drank a whole one of them today. And I'm still dehydrated. Story of my life. Oh, I started playing Blue Devils 2000. The, paradiddle part. Oh no, I played it on the wrong hand. I'm fired. I don't have it memorized yet, so I'm still reading it and messing up. All right, last rep, and then I'll respond to that. Sweet. Okay, so let's see. Technique is actually holding the stick is the same, but when I start playing, my hand slows down. Need more practice on your left? Yeah, I mean, story of my life. I hear you with that. So, like, if you go to... Actually, we'll do it this way, so I can keep that queued up. So, on my home tab, under the, links to get to, the drum page where everything's organized neatly, at the top, there's the curriculum vitae, which is, a fancy way of saying a very long resume. But if you go right underneath it, it's got some pictures. So this one, there's me. Woo! When I had hair. So I marched traditional, and now I only play matched. So I hear you. I'm still trying to get my left hand to match my right hand after all the several seasons of marching with traditional. So I know what that feels like, and I hear you. But the way that you can work on it, one of the ways is, if you scroll down, under the technique exercises, there's the double stop variations of some exercises. This is a great way to work on matching your hands. So let's see. We got isolated diddles. This exercise is just a good way to work on hearing your rolls and making them nice and even. So it'll go right, both, left, both with every single one of these variations that are on here. Thank you for the like. But this is a really good way to hear where your hands are playing inconsistently with each other as double stops. So what you want to hear when you do a double stop, like if you're doing this, right, both, left, both, this exercise, like the accents are actually like 3-inch higher than your taps. This is kind of a weird exercise. I was like, what happened? Did my audio die? No, it just muted. Apparently I pressed M. Dial M for monkey. It's a Powerpuff Girls reference. Anyways, so... So it's all about just getting the nice sound for that second note in particular. But when you play it as a double stop, what you don't want is this. Like that. A flammy cha-cha-cha sound. What you want are double stop pops, like a flat flam, because they're moving at the same velocity and hitting at the same time. So if you practice double stop work and you do it in front of a mirror, or ideally in front of like something recording you, like on your phone or computer or whatever, so that way you can go back and watch it after the fact and not have to try and analyze your technique while you're playing. It just makes it so you can just focus on the playing side of things and not two things simultaneously, playing and analyzing. But listen specifically for your double stops and see what is changing in your hands. Try and get the camera angle at different angles. Like I will look at it from here and be like, what about my hands are different when I'm playing this way? Like my left hand has a tendency to be more Germanic approach rather than a American approach for the grip. So there's German, American, French. Those are the 3 primary ones. But yeah, so that's some way that you can work on it are those double stop variations. And just know that, like, what you're describing is just a lifelong struggle. So, like, you probably are right-handed. You probably use your right hand 90% more than you use your left hand. Like, if you're going to open a door, which hand are you going to use? Probably your right hand. So you're just more used to moving a hand, is my guess. And then the left hand is just, like, out of practice, basically. So another way you can work on this is just practice stuff off to the left. So, like, when playing through any of these exercises, like, these grid variations and whatnot, like, are all written off the right, but, like, I would practice them off the left, too. So if you're doing diddle on, probably shouldn't play something different from what's going on there. Chaos. So practice starting with the left as opposed to starting off the right, and that can help you out as well, getting used to that. Let's see, I've been struggling with book reports. Do I have any tips? Yeah, I mean, if you really want to work on book reports, you can work on them in context, like the book reports in here. There's also the Chicago book report exercise here, which has, this is the second half of queso. You're welcome. Glad I could help with that. But this second half right here, it like removes the diddle on the book reports, and then it puts the diddle on the book reports right there. So that's a good exercise for that. But also just grid variation. So underneath the 16th note grid, just do book report on 1. If you could play through book report on 1, this variation right here, like that, is a great exercise to work on for that. Do I have a dog? You know the answer to that, whatnot. You've been to the gaming streams. I got Minnie, my cute doggo. All right, cool. Let's do this. We'll resume alternating. Good questions. Boop. All right, so this will be a 105. But if you find that you have like a more specific thing that's like slowing you down, what the? It muted again. There you go. Feel free to come back and ask more questions. Happy to help. Can I see your muscles? That's a weird question. I started playing 99. Wrong one. There's a little extra note for you. No extra charge. Don't worry. It's free. On the house. Ew. Man, I'm just like messing up left and right. Like my head feels weird. Like I feel really dehydrated. But again, I drank a whole one of these. I just thought if you play drums in this thingamabob, then you would have muscles. I don't know what that means, whatnot. Drumming is not about muscle size. Has nothing to do with that. It's all about technique, letting physics work for you. So like I do Muay Thai, so like kickboxing, elbows, knee strikes, all that stuff. And if you look at like people in Asia who do Muay Thai in particular, they're very skinny, but it's all about the technique. Like you get kicked by somebody who does Muay Thai, like professionally, they'll break your leg. You don't want that. It's not about muscle size for that. It's all about technique. Let's switch to the other one. RCC, hello. Let's see. Another thing is when I play triplet grid or 16th note grid, the accents are diddled. I can't do the same thing without the accents. What do you mean by that? Sixteenth note diddled. I can't do the same thing without the accents. You play the accents when it's not written? Interesting. Yeah, slow it down. Just get to the point where like you don't have to think about it. Okay. I don't know if your name is pronounced Ziba or what, but not sure what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, so whenever you're working on this, like get to, like right now I'm playing through these faster, but when I was learning it, like I was playing it at 40. Like if you go back a couple weeks in the streams, like we slowed these down really slow. So just like play it at the point where you can read through it. Good morning, Nathan. Without those mistakes. So maybe you're just playing too fast. Over time, you'll get used to grid. It'll be easier. Now, whatnot, we talked about this before. On YouTube, there's two different streams going. We got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Man, I'm like not able to talk while playing this one. It requires all my brain. Do you a favor? No. I like it. Where did I march? Academy. So I did 5 years in academy, and then I got into a car accident on year 5, so I couldn't march year 6 or 7. Actually, I had the yeah, you know, I got the had the core jacket out for finals. Jared O'Leary snare, 01 through 05. Yeah, I mean, people use hands in America as well. It's just sticks are more popular. I didn't really study much hand percussion. Oh, you're from India. Nice. I have not been to India. Closest I've been is Mongolia. I was there for like 12 days or something like that. Teaching out there. It's cool. Let's go to 120. You're a brass player. March Blue Nights 2023. Oh, I hear you. It's expensive to march. So, yeah, there's actually a huge like equity issue related to marching. It is a rather rich sport, to be honest. Like, you got to have money to be able to do it, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish they had more scholarships, like travel scholarships. Academy was local, so it saved money. Yeah, my last 2 years was '06 and '07, but I didn't get to march those 2 years. So '06, I think it was '06, maybe it was '07, was the year that Academy won World Championships for Div 2, back when it was Divisions 1, 2, etc., 3, instead of Open and World. But, yeah, that was a bummer. Avoid debt. Smart. Yeah, if you can avoid debt, like, it is not worth it. In 2018, that's when I finished my doctorate. I submitted my dissertation, like, I think it was December of 2018, and that same month also completely 100% debt-free. Highly recommend it. So we've been debt-free for almost 6 years now, and, like, it allows me to do this. Like, we can live off of my wife's salary, because, like, we have a paid-for house, we have zero debt, like, car, able to pay cash with, etc. Like, it opens up so many more doors in your life if you don't have debt. Like, I walked away from a very high-paying job for an educator, and have made very little money this last, like, year and a half. But I'm able to just keep creating more and more content and not have to worry about that. Like, well, I got to make like 10 grand this month in order to like survive. Like, that would put a whole lot of extra pressure on it, and would, I think, negatively impact like the content that I create, in my opinion. Did I just play? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh, no. I was lost in my head. Yeah, so like what ended up, the reason why we were able to do that is because we were living off of my teacher's salary. And so as a teacher, even though I hadn't finished the doctorate, I had finished all the coursework, so they counted it. I was making $45,000 a year, which is not enough. But we were able to live off of that while my wife was still in school. And then when she started working, we took all of her money, basically, and put it towards debt. And then when I got a job that more than doubled my salary, like was making a six-figure salary, all of that extra money we just threw towards like paying off debt, and we continued to live the way that we did when we were on a single teacher income, and just literally every penny that we made, excess of that, of our just like base expenses, put towards paying off the debt. And then it just opened up so many more doors, like being able to say no to a lot of money, to be able to just like create things I enjoy. It's a life-changing. If anyone can do that, I highly recommend it. Live off the minimum. No, that was bad. You did not hear that. Yeah, exactly. Hear what? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Must have been a glitch in the audio. It was weird. Yeah, I hear you. So I was looking at your other comment about like kind of aging themselves out. I was forced to age out because of that car accident. It's not what I wanted. So in '07, when I watched finals, I like in the parking lot just like broke down in tears because I was supposed to be the center snare marching the group off of the field. I was supposed to be the section leader for 4 years straight. Should have been, but didn't get to march those last two. And it was my entire identity. Everything was wrapped up in being the like drumline, center snare, section leader, etc. It was my everything. And working with a therapist to understand that is not who I am, that is just what I did. Like, and expanding beyond that and understanding like who I am as an individual outside of like the career that I choose or the things that I do, like really helped me out. It was not fun having that taken away from me, but it was honestly a transformative experience. Like I've shown the tattoo before, but like being able to take something where it starts to rain and then turn it into something like positive, where you learn to play in the rain. Like I started focusing on education because of it. That's why all my degrees are in music education. I was going to get performance degree after the music ed one. I was like, no, I want to teach better. So it ended up being good in the long run. I love that spree. This is Velvet Nights 5/4 spree. Just reading comments. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. People are petty and jealous. At least they can be. It's hard for some people to see somebody else succeed, especially when that person is younger than them. Yeah, there's like this weird like competitive like, you know, everybody can like succeed in different ways. It's okay. Some people can't accept that though. Reading. Sorry to hear that. Academy moved to world class in 2007. Yeah, okay, so it was 2006 when they won world championships. Yeah, so they didn't win in '07, but like still just being able to march those last 2 years would have been great, but it's honestly like best that I didn't. Like I don't think I would have met my wife had I marched. So like I'd much rather be married to my wife than have marched those last couple of years. Yeah, I mean, life is weird. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying drumming, Matt. There's literally like 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. Keep you busy for a while. Free. Would I consider doing an all-age group? I thought about it, but I don't know. It's just a time thing. I like practicing more than performing. And I can do that with these streams. surprised my arms didn't burst into flames there. Wow, that was fast. Love my content. Oh, thank you. Speaking of my content, for those of you who are new, my home tab, because I make gaming, drumming, computer science stuff, and there's like a new drumming video every single day, just go to the home tab on YouTube and just click on the header, and then it shows you all the literally thousands of videos. The best way, though, is to actually go to /drum on my website, jaredoleary.com/drum, and we've got all 53 chop exercises here, 372 triplet grid variations, 514 16-note grid variations, bunch of timing exercises, 55 drum charts, 166 marching bass exercises. I highly recommend the splits timing, 2 drums. You'll see why when you actually play through it. It mutes one part, and then it switches. Yeah, you'll see. Check it out. 128 technique stuff. And then whenever people come in and ask questions, I put them into these drumming tips playlist here, and there's like 8 hours of drumming tips in there. And then all of the prior streams you can also find here. So, including the one we're doing right now. So, I'll put in timestamps so you can see, like, what did I work on? How did I work on it? Today, we're just kind of, like, chilling, just playing through some shopping sprees. Tomorrow and Friday, I will not be doing a drum stream. I will be doing a gaming stream, though. I just don't want to wake up the guests that will be staying here with, you know, banging on the drums and whatnot. So, we won't be doing that. Am I playing any game today? Yeah. So, after I, like, tear this down and get set up, we're going to play through Black Myth Wukong. We'll try and get to chapter 2 today. I'm still getting used to the combat in that game. It's after like the last game that I played that was kind of similar in terms of like beating up people was Spider-Man, and that combat is very different. And it's also very different from Elden Ring. Specifically like the fact that once you get into a combo, like you're stuck in that combo. Good luck rolling. But we'll figure it out. Can't imagine marching in. Yeah, no, I hear you. So doing Muay Thai actually strengthened my knee. So the knee is what I hit on the dashboard in that car accident. So I couldn't march because of that. But fighting actually strengthened my knee. So now I like don't have it randomly collapse on me, which, you know, is nice. We don't want that. So I don't know if marching though would, like with a drum on, would cause some issues. Like when I was teaching, I could like demonstrate it, but I wasn't using a drum while I was demonstrating it. So, I don't know. Who knows? You have a question. How are people doing the ghost accent things where they're playing triplet grid? Oh, okay. So, yeah. What you're doing is a flam accent. So you're playing, and then you just stop your stick right before you hit, so you still have that triplet. And you can do it with flam drags, you can do it ghost, backsticking, etc. But what you're doing is you're just basically squeezing the stick right before you hit, so it stops it right before you hit. It's a little bit tighter of a technique than what I would normally recommend. But just practice stopping the stick right before while you do a grace note. Here. And that's all you do. For whatever the accent pattern is, play it like a flam and just get rid of the accent and just play the grace note. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, stop in on a future stream. We'll be back. Drumming should be this weekend. We'll see. We're having like a big get-together with a bunch of people, so maybe I won't stream Saturday. I don't know. We'll find out. I'd like to, though. But anyways, if y'all like my content, just share it with other people. There's thousands of free stuff on here. I don't want to have you pay for it. So help me out. Share it with other people. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for Black Myth Wukong. We're going to go beat up some bosses and whatnot. How many likes is a live at? 3,566. Thank you. I appreciate it. At least that's what it says on my end. Although yesterday you said it got to 10,000 and I only had 3,000 on my end. So TikTok is not always showing it. But I hide all the how many people are watching live. I just assume there's a billion people and they're all very, very quiet. But anyways, I do appreciate everybody who stops by on these streams. It makes it interesting to hear like what kind of questions you have, and I can kind of like riff off of that or expand upon things. But I'm gonna call it. No drumming again tomorrow or Friday, but